Hi creative friends, I'm Denise from Salvaged Inspirations and welcome back. Last week I thrifted this Renoir print in this beautiful vintage frame. I love the print even though it was faded. I love the frame details, but the frame finish wasn't what I wanted for my decor. So today I'm sharing how I applied gold leaf and then antiqued it for an old world finish. I can't wait to hear what you think of the new look. Let's get started. So when I brought it home, I gave it a really good once over, and somebody, and this actually touches my heart, they actually painted the inner part of the frame to match the colors of the print and most likely their decor. And I think that's super sweet. However, it didn't match my decor. I do have this frame that it was kind of an inspo frame because it's cracked, it's distressed, it looks very antique. I started by setting up a work surface for me to work on, then turned the frame over and started removing the print from the frame. And check out this old Toronto newspaper. Oh, this put a huge smile on my face. Stacy, one of our readers on the SI blog, said that the newspaper is from 1975, the year Sir Andrew Davis joined the TSO. And P also confirmed this by saying Sir Andrew Davis was welcomed to the Toronto Women's Symphony Orchestra in 1975. So this is over 50 years old. So I started by removing this old newspaper, and it was just like tissue paper. It was just almost falling apart. It was so old. And once I got all the newspaper removed, I started removing the nails that were holding in the print. The nails pulled out easily with a pair of pliers, and I just set them aside in a little cup. Then I removed the board that the print was on and set it aside. In a spray bottle, I mixed up vinegar along with water, probably about, I'd say 20% vinegar to 80% water. And using a smaller sponge, I just gave this frame a really good cleaning. I let the frame dry overnight, and the next morning I came down, gave it a super quick scuff sanding, and then I applied 2 coats of this Gold Digger metallic paint using a 1.5 inch brush, just to make sure that I get into all the crevices. And the first coat, as you can see, is not hiding that blue paint that somebody had painted, and it's not even giving full coverage to the actual rest of the frame. So this did require 2 coats of the gold metallic, and there was about a 2.5 hour dry time in between each coat. So here's what the frame looked like after about 2.5 hours when the first coat had dried. And as you can see, the blue paint is still beading through. So this definitely required 2 coats. The second coat of the gold metallic paint did the trick, and I believe I let that dry overnight and then came back in the morning to do the gilding. So here comes the fun part. I use Stick With Me glue, which goes on milky. I do like using this glue because you can see exactly where you're putting it. I opened it up and gave it a good mixing. And then using a sponge brush, I applied a thin coat of this glue all over the frame. Getting it into the little grooves, getting into the crevices, making sure I did the outside and the inside. Everywhere you want the gold leaf is where you would apply your glue. And I'm not sure how much this glue is. I think it's like a good $12 or $15 for this little container. But let me tell you, well worth it, because I cannot tell you how many projects I've done with this little container already. And there's still so much left. Like I haven't even gone through a quarter of it. You really don't need a whole lot. Very, very little goes a long way. So I worked my way around applying this glue with the foam brush. And as you can see, I pounced it in the corners and in all the crevices just to make sure that I got the glue everywhere on the frame. I would pounce it into the crevices and then I would smooth it out using the tip of the foam brush. And again, here's what it looks like when it's wet. It does have a milky sort of look to it. And you'll know the gold leaf is ready to be applied once it turns clear. So I let that dry for about, it usually takes about 15-20 minutes. I just went upstairs and I don't know what. I ended up coming back downstairs and grabbing my gold leaf. Now I buy this gold leaf on Amazon, and it's around $10 or even under $10 a package. I think this package had 100 sheets, if I'm not mistaken, and it lasts a while. Like I've done a good few projects with it, and I still have some left over. I've never purchased the real authentic gold foil. It's quite a bit more expensive, like it probably starting at $60 a pack, depending on how many sheets. So I'm not sure if that would make a big difference looks wise, because I've never tried it. But if any of you have and have noticed a big difference, I would love to hear in the comments down below. But as you can see from the other projects that I've used it on, I'm quite happy with the looks of this, and it's super inexpensive. To apply the gold leaf is really easy. You just grab a sheet, you put it on your project. It'll stick like crazy because of the glue. If you end up with cracks or missing areas, you can just peel off some more from a new sheet or peel off the overhang from what you've just used, and you can fill in the spaces. Now, for me, I actually wanted a really, as I mentioned, old world antique look. So I wasn't overly concerned about getting this gold leaf perfectly on the frame because I wanted a lot of dimension, a lot of cracks, a lot of just to make it look really old, right? And that worked out perfectly. But if you want a perfectly just gold, glitzy, glam look, you would go back in and fill in all those little spaces that you've missed with the gold leaf. And like I said, it's easy to do. So you push it to the glue, and then using the soft brush, you can just brush off the excess and it comes right off. And I do find that the tip of a nice soft paintbrush really helps get that gold leaf into all the crevices. For the detailed corners, where it has more ornate, grooves, I just do the exact same thing, just making sure that I really tap in the gold leaf into all the crevices, and then I just brush off the excess. If there's any places missing, as I mentioned, I can just peel off some of the overhang or grab a little bit extra from a new sheet, stick it on, dab it, and it'll just fill that space right up. Again, I wasn't overly concerned about getting a perfect gold leaf finish. I worked my way around this whole entire frame, making sure to get the inner lip because that would show even when the print's put back in, and make sure that I did the sides, and I just worked my way around the frame, and it's very, very satisfying. You can have a lot of fun with this gold leaf. I really, really enjoyed the process. And look how shiny and beautiful it looks. It looks gorgeous. And here's the difference between the gold leaf and the gold metallic paint. And as you can see, there's a big, big difference. Combining the two, along with the antiquing that you'll see me do in just a moment, it really added a lot of dimension to this frame. After I had the entire frame covered in my gold leaf, I took a soft lint-free cloth and burnished the gold leaf on. Now, if you like the gold, glitzy, shiny glam look, you could stop right here and you'd have a gorgeous gold leaf frame. However, as I mentioned, I wanted a really old world antique finish. So I brought out some brown wax along with my designated brown waxing brush. And I went ahead and added brown wax to this entire frame on the outside and the inside. And as I'm adding it, you can see what a difference this makes, right? It kind of brings down the shine of the gold leaf and starts aging it right away. I was loving it. After I applied the wax, right away I rubbed it off. So I didn't wait any time at all. It was like rub on, rub off. And here you can see how it's gotten into the crevices and is really creating that old age look. To make those corners pop and look even older, I used a coffee bean. And what I did was I applied it around the very rim and into those detailed corners, making sure to wet my brush and then applying a little bit of the coffee bean dark paint and then wiping it back right away. To smooth everything out, I cut a piece of burnishing pad off and I got in there and burnished the whole finish. And this leaves it feeling really glass mirror. Like it feels smooth as a mirror, smooth as glass. However, it doesn't look that way because it's kind of showing all the bumps and cracks and crevices and the gold leaf that was actually cracked. So to the touch, everything feels very silky smooth, but to look at it, it really looks like an old antique finish. And to give it one more layer, because I'm just like that, to give it another dimension and layer, I used some gold gilding wax. And I just went over some of the areas, more or less like the rim and the corners, just so this gold would have variety. Because if you look at the gold gilded antique frames, it's like the gold takes on a different patina in different areas of the frame. So once I was happy with the look, I turned the frame over and it was time to put the Renoir print back in. I use the exact same nails just to keep it authentic. I use the same nails that were in there. I use the same holes that I took the nails out of. And I found it easy just to use a little pair of pliers and hammer them back in. And just as a reminder, here's the before. And here's the after, and I am super happy with it. It really does look like a very, very old gold gilded frame. I have actually hung it in my hallway. I also bought art light overhanging it, which I love the look because then in the nighttime it picks up all the different variances. It looks so good. And I'm super happy with it. I'm very, very happy with it. I know some of the people on, some of my readers on Salvaged Inspirations mentioned that the print is, it's kind of faded, and very true. It really is. But I'm kind of weird that way. I think that's part of its charm because I really do think this print is probably 50 years old, maybe even a little bit older, along with this frame. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for different pieces of art in antique shops and thrift stores. I can change it out because I'm sure I will get bored, but for the time being, I love the look. I hope this has inspired you to try gold leafing. It's super easy, it's super fun, and it has awesome results. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can also find me over at salvagedinspirations.com, where I have a free goof-proof furniture painting guide for you to go grab. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous week. Bye, guys.